There's a risk in your retirement plan that no financial advisor is calculating. It won't show up in your portfolio statement. It won't trigger an alert in your investment account. Your advisor won't bring it up in your annual review. But it might be the single most expensive risk you're taking, and almost nobody is talking about it.
Here's what I mean. We spend decades, sometimes entire careers, optimizing the financial side of retirement. The number, the date, the withdrawal rate, when to claim Social Security, how to allocate the portfolio. Those things matter. I'm a financial planner. I work on them every day. But there's a conversation that almost never happens in a planning meeting, a question that almost never gets asked. What does full stop retirement actually do to a person, not to their portfolio, to them?
Because here's what I've observed after building over 1,000 financial plans and sitting with hundreds of clients through some of the biggest financial transitions of their lives. The clients who struggle most in retirement are rarely the ones who ran out of money. They're the ones who ran out of reasons to get up in the morning. And the research behind why that happens, what's actually occurring in the brain and body when a person fully disengages, is something every person planning for retirement deserves to understand. So that's what this video is about. Let's talk about what the science actually says. And I want to be clear up front. This isn't about scaring you. This isn't about telling you that retirement is dangerous and you should work until you drop. That's not the message. The message is that your brain has needs, and a retirement plan that doesn't account for those needs isn't a complete plan, no matter how good the numbers look. The first thing retirement does is accelerate cognitive decline. This is the one that surprises people most. A large-scale study analyzing nearly 500,000 people found that retirees were significantly more likely to experience memory loss and cognitive deterioration than people who remained working. The effect wasn't small. It was consistent across age groups, income levels, and health status. Here's the simple reason why. Your brain is adaptive. It responds to the demands you place on it. When you're working, solving problems, making decisions, learning new things, navigating complex social environments, your brain is being exercised in ways that keep it sharp and resilient. Remove those demands suddenly and completely, and the brain responds accordingly. Not immediately, gradually, quietly, the way a muscle atrophies when you stop using it. The second thing retirement does is significantly increase the risk of depression. This one doesn't get nearly enough attention in financial planning conversations. Retirement is one of the most profound identity shifts a person goes through. In a single transition, you lose your professional role, your daily structure, your built-in social network, and often your primary sense of purpose and contribution, all at once. That's an enormous amount of loss compressed into a very short period of time. Research suggests that retirees are roughly 40% more likely to experience clinical depression than people who remain working, and the risk is highest in the first 1 to 2 years, precisely when most people expect to feel the most relief and freedom. The people most vulnerable are often the highest achievers, the ones who are most defined by what they did, the ones who built the biggest careers and hit every financial target. The third thing retirement does is accelerate physical decline. The mind and body are not separate systems. What happens to one happens to the other. Fully retired people tend to be less physically active than working people. They have fewer reasons to leave the house, fewer social obligations that create natural movement, fewer external structures that regulate sleep, eating, and daily rhythm. The result is a cascade. Less activity leads to faster physical deterioration. Faster physical deterioration leads to reduced cognitive function. Reduced cognitive function leads to social withdrawal. Social withdrawal leads to depression. Each one feeds the next. The fourth thing, and this one might be the most underestimated, is social isolation. For most people, work is not just a job. It's their primary social infrastructure. The colleagues, the meetings, the shared problems, the casual conversations in the hallway, the feeling of being part of something with other people. Remove that without deliberately replacing it, and what's left is a level of social isolation that researchers have started describing in startling terms. Some studies suggest chronic loneliness is as damaging to physical health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Think about that for a moment. We have entire public health campaigns around smoking. We have warning labels, we have quit lines and support groups. Nobody puts a warning label on a retirement party.
Now I want to pause here and say something important, thoughtful. None of this means retirement itself is the enemy. None of this means you should work in a job you hate until you collapse. That's not what the research is saying, and it's not what I'm saying. What it's saying is this: your brain needs structure, it needs challenge, it needs contribution, it needs connection, it needs forward motion, and if your retirement plan doesn't deliberately account for those needs, if it's only optimizing for the financial side of the equation, then it has a significant gap, a gap no portfolio balance is going to fill.
So if full stop retirement carries these risks, what's the alternative? I want to be precise here, because this is where people sometimes misunderstand the argument. The alternative is not working forever in a job that drains you. The alternative is not grinding through your 60s because stopping is scary. The alternative is not some productivity philosophy dressed up as financial advice. The alternative is intentional engagement, designing a life where you never fully disengage from the things that make you feel alive, useful, connected, like you're still becoming something. That looks completely different for different people, and that's exactly the point. For some people, it's scaling back from full-time to consulting 2 days a week in the same field, still using the expertise they've built, still solving interesting problems, but on their terms, at their pace. For others, it's a complete pivot, leaving behind the career entirely and building something new, something they always wanted to try but never had time for, a small business, a craft, a practice, something that generates meaning first and income second. For others, it's structured volunteering or board work, staying connected to organizations and problems that matter to them, contributing expertise without the pressure of employment. For others, it's part-time work in something completely unrelated to their career, something physical, something creative, something that gets them out of the house and around other people 3 days a week. The form doesn't matter, the function does. Structure, challenge, contribution, connection, forward motion.
Those are the biological needs your retirement plan has to account for. However you meet them is your business.
And here's what's interesting about this from a purely financial perspective. When you design a life around intentional engagement rather than full stop retirement, when you stay in the game in some form on your own terms, the financial math changes in your favor in ways that are genuinely significant. We covered some of this in the last video, but let me give you the short version. Every year you're generating even modest income is a year your portfolio isn't being drawn down. Sequence of returns risk, one of the most dangerous threats to a retirement plan, nearly disappears when you're not fully dependent on your portfolio in the early years. Social Security becomes dramatically more valuable the longer you wait to claim. If you don't need it at 62 because you're still generating income, even part-time income, the difference in your lifetime benefit can be substantial. And the number you actually need to feel financially secure gets smaller.
Because you're not trying to replace 100% of your income from a portfolio alone, you're supplementing, you're bridging, the pressure on your nest egg reduces significantly. Intentional engagement isn't just good for your brain, it's one of the most powerful financial strategies available to you.
I want to tell you about the clients I've worked with who have the most resilient retirements. Not the wealthiest, the most resilient. They're almost never the ones who hit a number and fully stopped. They're the ones who redesigned. The attorney who left her firm at 58 and started consulting independently 2 days a week. She works with 3 clients she genuinely enjoys. She earns enough where her portfolio hasn't been touched in 4 years. She describes this period of her life as the best she's ever felt. The executive who retired from corporate life at 61 and joined 2 nonprofit boards. No salary, but he's solving real problems with people he respects 3 days a week. He has structure, he has contribution, he has forward motion. He feels sharper than he did at 50. The couple who both stepped back from full-time work in their early 60s and built a small business together. Nothing dramatic, a passion project that generates $40,000 a year between them.
Enough to make a real difference in their financial plan. But more importantly, something that gives their days shape and their life meaning. None of these people retired in the traditional sense. All of them are thriving.
That's not a coincidence. That's what happens when a financial plan accounts for the whole person, not just the portfolio. The question I want you to sit with is this: not when can I stop, but What would I never want to stop doing? Because that question, answered honestly, is the foundation of a retirement plan that actually works for your finances and for your life. Let me bring this back to something concrete. Your brain needs 5 things to stay healthy, sharp, and fully alive: structure, challenge, contribution, connection, forward motion. Your financial plan probably accounts for none of them. So here's what I want you to do. Write down the 5 things your work currently gives you that have nothing to do with money. The structure it provides, the problems it lets you solve, the people it connects you to, the way it makes you feel useful and capable and relevant. Then ask yourself honestly, what's your plan to replace those things? Not with leisure, not with travel, not with golf. With something real, something that engages your brain, something that connects you to other people, something that makes you feel like you're still becoming something rather than slowly winding down. If you have a clear answer, build your financial life plan around it. If you don't have a clear answer yet, that's okay.
Most people don't, but that conversation needs to happen before you retire, not after, because the cost of getting this wrong isn't just psychological. As we talked about today, it's cognitive, it's physical, it's social, and it's financial. A retirement that requires you to draw down your portfolio faster because you're spending to fill a void, travel, consumption, distraction, is more expensive than a retirement built around engagement and purpose.